Okay, you guys, I want to show you some of these kind of a little bit more, a little bit more exact, but with some fold over here, where they're really very cone shaped. But you can see mine, I get a lot of nice fold over in here. So this one is a little bit more exact, but let me show you these. So I have this triangle cut, and what is important here is to make sure that I'm really I have some nice, some nice curved pliers. And I really want to make sure, this is actually a pretty heavy gauge. It's a pretty heavy gauge, so I can get in here and really work this. So let me start with my forming block here. And I'm going to start with this largest one. Get into this large one and start getting it curved. I want to make sure that it's straight as I curve this. And especially when I get into these smaller sizes too. I don't want it to be off center. Let's see if I can get this one in here correctly. It's a little bit on a curve, so if that's the case, you just have to correct it a little. This one I may have to anneal a little bit more. This is a 20 gauge. Normally I work with a 24 gauge for this type of cones, but you know what? Just is what it is. It's the size of my die that I put in here. You can work in the same dapping space, and it's just the size of your die. So I can actually get in here with this one. I might as well get in here tighter. For this, I just want to make sure, like I talked about, it has to stay more centered down the middle. Okay, I'm getting this a little more centered. Let me get into this area here. I'm going to start bringing the curve down in this area here. I'm bringing it around. Sometimes I don't need it to be brought around this much. Okay, you can see I've got to get into this area here. So I'm going to anneal this one just because this is, like I said, a 20 gauge, and you get this annealed. Get this quenched. Get this paper toweled a little bit. And then I'm going to start working on the bottom first, getting this bottom closed around. So again, I need more of an exact fit here. And I need my edges more precise. But I've got to get this brought around. There we go. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of work. But you start with the bottom. Move my way up. Brought it in a little too much. So then you can just pull it outward. Unless you want to leave these open. This one, I just showed you kind of that really nice organic form. Don't be afraid to leave this side a little bit open and organic too. When you start working out your creativity, you could really get some beautiful shapes just leaving it open too. But if you want it exact, I'm going to get in, with maybe this piece here, just to kind of form a little bit more of a good circle. If you really want that round, nice round shape. You just have to keep going at it. You might think you don't have the best shape, but you can see, you know, and I really like working mine when it's work hardened. Beautiful little shape. Beautiful. So this shape is a little bit unusual for me. I can keep working it. I can anneal it. I kind of love it. I definitely can get in here. I'm going to show you how I solder that, put an end cap on here, and really make it into a beautiful piece. So now this is ready to go in the pickle. I'm happy with my shape. Love it. Okay, my other piece is right here. I'm going to solder down the middle, but I'll also be putting a cap on here. And I just looked at all this, and I decided I wanted 3/8. It's a little bit longer, but I think I'm going to like this size. So I'm just going to use my my block, and I have an anvil under here, so I'm just going to use this, get it going, and there we go. So let me pull this back, and you know, this piece will actually sit so beautiful right on the top here, and this is my cone. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this kind of sealed up here on top, get my seam soldered. You don't have to solder it, really. I mean, it's not going to come undone, but it just is nice to do it. Nice metal work to do it. So, okay. I'm just going to use medium for both of those. So in one case, I'm just going to flow some solder on here. Flow solder on here. Might need a little bit more. And I want to make sure, I'm going to show you how I can work, you know, this is going on the outside of a seam. I'm going to pull my torch on the inside to pull it through. So you're going to see, so, you know, you always want to know, you don't want your solder to just make a mess all over the surface. Okay, let's get all this a little bit dried up. Get some on here. Now this is a hollow form. I'm not going to worry about being perfect with it because I will have a little bit of, since I did kind of like an organic flow here, you know, there's going to be a little bit of holes in here. So I'm going to just try to fit this right under here. That would be pretty, wouldn't it? Just these little balls going down the side. So you guys can decide how to decorate yours. This is a creativity course. So I'm just showing you guys how to do the structure of it. There's so much more you can do. See that? So I'm going to go on the inside of this. Bring this down and in. There we go, see that? Okay, there we go. We have a beautiful, beautiful. Now, all in one shot, I just did, oh, you know what though? Truthfully, I should have my screen on here for this next one so I can get up and under. It's always easier with your screen. So let's do this. All my solder's on here. You guys can see it from here. So I'm actually just going to see how I'm using this heat on the screen, heating up the screen. Make sure it's centered. My screen is a little bit crooked over here. There we go. See that flow? Voila. I have a top on here. I'm getting closer. I have my side sealed up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pickle this, and then I'll show you just putting an attachment on the top. So I'm gonna dip, this is my piece out of the pickle. I'm gonna keep an overhang there, but of course that's just personal preference. You guys can decorate in any way you want to. And I soldered together this tiny little link. This is in another chapter, or in the wire chapter. And I'm just gonna solder that together. I kind of really sometimes love these big, links that just overhang. So that is going to be my preference today. You get this all full of flux. And I could lay it this way. I think what I'm gonna try to do, when we talk setup, is just maybe get this embedded in here like this. Why not? And then put this on the top of it. Why not, right guys? It's like you're always thinking of different ways that you'd like your pieces to sit. So I'm actually gonna put I'm gonna use medium again. I'll just use it on the side of here since I can see things much better on my brick. And get my torch out. If I was worried about putting too much down, since I have a nice thick shank on here, I can, I can just put down a little dollop of medium right there, and I'll be in good shape. If I had a really fine piece I was working with, I'd have to be careful, and I kind of wanted this to sit a little bit sideways. So let's see, I think, you know what, I wanted it to come from this direction. So you want to always be careful with your presentation. And I'm going to heat both of these up. I don't want the bottom piece to become undone. And they both seem like they need about the same amount of heat. So I'm going to apply 50-50 to each. Actually, maybe 70 to this bottom piece. 70-30, how about that? There we go, okay. That one worked out pretty good, nice and quick. So this piece is done here in this way. I love the big shank on here. So I'm gonna get these quenched and pickled, and you'll get to see both the pieces finished.